This is Providence Television International, the toast of today's television viewers. Don't be left out.
And that's quite right. Don't be left out. This is actually Providence Television International, the game changer. And this is the newspaper analysis on the morning drive. Once again, I want to say thanks for staying tuned to this very wonderful station. My name is Ogbebo Ikekwa, and with me in the studio is Dr. Emmanuel Egariba.
Always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure, and this is a beautiful day. I hope we all glory in it. Thank you very much.
And so we'll move straight to the front page of the Daily Times newspaper, where we have Nigeria has disappointed Africa. Black race. This is coming from Obasanjo. We'll tie this story to the story on the front page of the first newspaper. Nigeria has disappointed Africa, the entire world, still from Obasanjo.
Well, some people say Obasanjo talks too regularly. All right. Maybe they are right. But many more people will tell you that when Obasanjo speaks, Nigeria should listen because he's been there. First as a military head of state and also as a civilian president. But far beyond that, he's been very well known around the African continent, in the Commonwealth, and also around the world. He's an eminent leader. There's no doubt about that. And, well, he also has his own minuses. Yeah. But that's not the issue now. Now, the issue is he is saying that Africa or Nigeria has disappointed Africa and the entire black race and the world. Why? Because there are some indices that have been laid bare before us. For instance, time was when Nigeria was the biggest economy in Africa. That has eluded us. Now we are number 4. That's not a plus, it's a minus. And a lot of African countries are quite worried about that, okay? Nigerians are living in droves, not just to Europe and to North America or even to Asia, but to African countries. You will find Nigerians in Burkina Faso. You will find them in Republic of Benin, in Ghana, in Angola. Nigerians are there. You will find them in Namibia. In South Africa, Nigerians are there. All over the African continent, leaving their homeland. That's a source of worry. And that's why, for instance, Obasanjo is also worried. Look at it. A few years ago, we had this xenophobia problem in South Africa. Nigerians were driven back to their country, which was a shame, really. How many Africans do we have in Nigeria? How many South Africans, rather, do we have in Nigeria? How many Burkinabes, people from Burkina Faso, how many of them do we have in Nigeria? Not to even talk of Ghanaians. Okay? But you'll find Nigerians all over the place. Nigerians are in Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the Southern Hemisphere. You'll find Nigerians there. Why? Because they are fleeing their home country. And that bothers people like Obasanjo, for example. We have issues with security. We have issues with youth empowerment. We have issues with economy. All kinds of issues. And that's why Nigeria is no longer taking its pride of place in the African continent. And because Obasanjo is an elder statesman, it gives him some nightmares. It's not alone in this. I mean, people like Anyaoku, for instance, the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, he has also spoken along this line. They are in pains because this is not the kind of Nigeria they want to see. All right? So, but I'm hopeful. I mean, many Nigerians are also hopeful, just as I am, that one day, someday, Nigeria will get it back. We'll go on the right trajectory. Okay? Many Nigerians are hopeful about that, and that's why a lot of Nigerians have also refused to go outside. But it's the problem of youth, really.
Okay.
Many of our youths are outside this country, who should be gainfully engaged in this country. They are not willing to come back to their homeland because the situation at home, according to them, is very hostile.
Right.
And you can tell. Yes.
All right, we'll move to the front page of the Guardian newspapers, where we have federal government seeks IMF's help as flooding, oil output crisis dampen outlook. You'll get the details of this on page 6 of the Guardian newspapers.
Nigeria and IMF again. 6 IMF help. What kind of help? It's loan, obviously.
Yes.
And we have just taken one. And loans are running to trillions. Right. And once you become indebted, you are subjugated to the whims and caprices of your creditor, even in ordinary life. I just pray, I want to get the statistics right, that Nigeria does not become the biggest debtor nation in the world. Because the way we are going, we are always borrowing,
Gradually
always
sliding
borrowing,
there.
sliding
And
there, getting there.
it's a source of worry that the IMF is always willing.
Of course, they are
to-
willing.
yes.
If you are a creditor, will you not be willing to give out loans? You will be willing because you make your money through interest. Yes, as a creditor, you'll be happy. But far beyond that, politically speaking, they want to subjugate their debtors so that they can begin to take care or instigate certain things. I mean, for instance, you will be shocked at this. IMF is interested in who takes over at every election. They are interested in that. And they have stooges all over the place. IMF is, simply put, it's neo-colonialism. Okay? So that's where we are. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Well, I know you actually did mention this as just while we were talking some few minutes ago. Still on the front page of The Guardian, lost billions. Why government's youth empowerment efforts are failing.
Failing because we have not addressed the issues frontally. There are many things we can do for youth, for young people of this country who are vibrant. I can vouch for them. Nigerian youths are vibrant. Give them the necessary skills and they excel. Yes, I'm not talking of school dropouts. I mean, that's a different ball game altogether. But there are many who are skilled, who can use their brains, who can use their hands. And we have a lot of them across the world. But what's the engagement process like between the youths and the federal government and even the states? We have a population of youths that is wasting away. It's wasting away. It's becoming a lost generation, which is a tragedy. Because we find that rather than engaging them in Nigeria, these boys and girls, they are flying across the country, going through Libya, through the deserts, going across the Mediterranean to Europe, all because of escapism. They want to escape the biting effects of the economy. That's not good enough. Our leaders must address it frontally. Only yesterday, I mentioned something that, look, I mean, the power sector, for instance. What stops government from establishing an industry to produce just panels, solar panels? And you can imagine the thousands of youths who will be employed. And they will also end up employing people because they will learn the skills and then they will start to employ people. It has a spiral effect, for example. Yes, that's what we can do.
You actually did talk about
we
yesterday.
Talked about that, yes.
And I remember we weren't talking on camera, but you actually noted that this station is definitely going far. Most of the issues that we're bringing up are issues that come out trending even just by the next day.
Yes, I'm happy about that. I'm very happy about that. It means that somebody somewhere is watching this station keenly.
Yes.
I mean, that gives me very big satisfaction. All right. I mean, we are living in a computer world, for instance. I mean, you do a program here, you can be sure that somebody in Canada is watching. Okay? So some of the things we have said, they are becoming prophetic, really. And I must give ourselves thumbs up for that.
And so we move with this to the front page. Vanguard newspapers: unending grid collapses threaten survival of businesses. And the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is saying this is frustrating for manufacturers. NASIMA calls for full privatization. We'll tie this to the front page of these day newspapers. Federal government summons TCN, NARC to emergency meeting over incessant electricity grid collapse.
What do you say of that? Only yesterday again.
Just yesterday.
Just yesterday. We talked about it. On this station now, it's been picked up by a couple of national newspapers. What did we say? Say, look, I said, once you have a grid collapse, automatically a greater chunk of the manufacturing sector collapses.
Yes.
That's why they are crying out. Yes, they are crying out. I mean, that's what we said just yesterday. And in any case, what is the viable alternative? We cannot continue like this because a nation that cannot do viable things with its power sector cannot progress. No, you cannot develop, because if you don't develop the sector, the power sector, for instance, how can you talk about development? It's practically impossible. That's why Nasima is crying out. The organized organized private sector, OPS, is crying out that, look, we must do something about it. And that's why I even suggested yesterday, if you remember, that it is time for us now to think of going nuclear.
Exactly.
Nigeria is a huge country, over 200 million people, with abundant resources. We can go nuclear. What do you have for nuclear reactor? Uranium, which I understand we also have in this country.
Yes.
All right? We can go nuclear. Once you go nuclear, that is goodbye, final goodbye to electricity problems or outages. No, it's final goodbye. Countries in Europe, you can reel them out if you like. Most of them are going nuclear. Even if we can't go nuclear now, let us develop solar power. The sun is there, round the clock. 12 months in a year, the sun is there. We're at the equator, right? The sun is overhead. We can tap from that huge natural resource. We are not thinking of that, and I think that people are responsible, and it's a big shame, really, that we are still talking about 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts, when we should be talking about over 30,000. We should have extra. And in the midst of this, we're still taking power to somewhere outside the country. What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
Well, quite a funny situation. We'll move over to the front page of the New Telegraph. Federal government kicks against exporting cooking gas produced in the country.
Do we have enough cooking gas in this country? No, it's a question.
I decided to tie that because
we have enough cooking gas. People are talking about decrease in the prices. There's a hike. Yes. I mean, people have household they look after. Women are complaining. You cannot buy gas now. So that is speaking through both sides of the chief. Talking about moving cooking gas. Well, we cannot satisfy domestic demands. And gas is the cheapest. Wood now is a no-go area. Don't just talk about wood. Don't even talk about coal. Do we still have kerosene in this country?
I don't think so in this part of the country.
Yes, I have my doubts. So gas is the issue. It's a clean resource, very clean, and it should be affordable. What of our LNG process? Liquefied natural gas. From there you get cooking gas. Okay? What has happened to it? Why do we have a shortage of cooking gas in this country? Now and again you hear that, oh no, the prices have come down. But you go to the market, you want to fill ordinary 12.5 kg. The price has gone through the roof. So Nigerians are always at the receiving end. Always, in all aspects of our lives, at the receiving end. Okay?
Well, talking about being at the receiving end, let us actually hope that there will be some kind of succor as regards this effect. Front page, Punch Sports Extra. CAF decides. Nigerians anticipate grave consequences for Libya as continental football body announces verdict today.
I hope the verdict, I'm talking now as somebody who's been in sports, I hope the verdict will be favorable to Nigeria. If it's not, it's a big dent on CAF. But I said some time ago, we should be able to preempt them, to preempt CAF, by reporting that incident to the African Union and also to the world body, FIFA itself. It shouldn't just stop with the CAF. Procedurally, yes, but we should have gone ahead to do that. Because I was hearing from the grapevine that both parties were guilty, both Nigeria and Libya. And there's a lot of politics in sports. In fact, you cannot divorce politics from sports. It's not possible. It's not possible. So I just hope that they won't do Nigeria by through politics. Because Nigeria is the envy of many African countries when it comes to sports. All right? I just hope so. And I hope that at the end of the day, Nigerians will smile that, yes, something in terms of reprisal has been meted out to Libya. Because that was really terrible. Because I said some time ago, now suppose in the process of flying into Benghazi and somewhere else, and suddenly you had a fuel shortage, there would have been a crash. And then we'll go into all kinds of mourning and things like that. No, but that didn't happen. We must thank the good Lord for it.
Exactly. And so we'll keep on thanking God for such blessings. We don't really ask for them, but then He just does it on our behalf. On this note, I want to say thank you so much for actually staying tuned. The next program will be the interview segment on the morning drive. Please stay tuned.